Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here for just a couple minutes of your day. I appreciate you guys. So, as you guys can tell, I got a new mic. I had one of those smaller ones. Thank God. Shout out to this mic. I think it's going to be a lot better. So, for all the future videos, I actually have a mic. I am winning. But who cares about the mic? We care about the Wheel of Time today. We are recording the 11th book of the Wheel of Time, Knife of Dreams. Robert Jordan's last book that he wrote. And I'm not gonna lie, this book, banger. I was actually really happy with this book. It felt like a reward. You know, it's like when you go to like a restaurant and the food was like, it's not really good, but the dessert was like, wow, this dessert was really good. So was the meal actually good? Or was just the dessert good? That's how it felt, because the slog was just not good, but Knife of Dream was really good. So I wrote down a bunch of notes, so we're going to talk about it. It's kind of more of like a summarized version of this, because if I went in depth, it'd be like an hour long, and I really don't know if I want to do an hour-long video of this. Just to start this off, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was a really fun book. I think it was really good. I was very happy with the results. There's just a lot going on that I'm like, holy crap, we are in the end game. Kind of like at the end of Avengers Infinity War, where Doctor Strange is like, we're in the end game now, and it's like that. That's what it felt like. So I'm pretty excited to dive into it. So let's do it. So the prologue is actually a pretty good start to this book. You got Galad, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and he is actually dueling Amon Valder, I think that's how you pronounce it, for the White Cloaks, because Galad was told that Amon Valder, I don't know why I'm pronouncing all his names, sorry if I pronounce all these names wrong, that this man has, well, killed his mother. So I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. Because, you guys can judge me, but I kind of forgot what happened to the Queen of Andor, Morgades, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Or is that the Forsaken? I don't know. There's so many names. They all sound almost alike. I just get really thrown off. So they're going to duel, and they do. But the Valder is like, yo, I did some things to your mom, bro. And I was like, oh, this is really disturbing. But Galad ended up killing Valder, which is actually really cool, which I'm like, good. And I kind of like Galad in this. Yes, he's a White Cloak, but his views on things are a lot different than what the White Cloaks have traditionally done, where they're all like, I hate Aes Sedai. But this man's like, yo, the Aes Sedai is actually pretty good. Let's just stick with them. And now he realizes, because he's now in charge of the White Cloaks, so he's like, we need to build this big army to fight for the last battle, because the Dark One is going to kill us all if we don't. We need to be united with Aes Sedai, with Rand, with everyone. And I really like that. I thought it was a really cool thing to see throughout the whole first beginning part of the prologue, because if I can remember, I can't remember the last time he was actually in a book. I think it was 2 books since, if I can remember. So that was actually really interesting. So the second part of the prologue has the Forsaken in it, the remaining Forsaken, and they're trying to break the seals for the Dark One. And my thought was like, why didn't you guys just do this? Like, that's my problem with the slog. There's so much nonsense that goes on in the slog that this could have been done before, but why are the Forsaken just messing around doing nothing? That was like my thought process through it all. And of course, they have to kill Mat and Perrin, which I'm pretty sure before they already discussed that. They're like, yo, we need to kill these two. But then they don't. So I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, this should have been done a while ago. That's why I think that's why so many people don't like the slog, because there's so many things that could have happened. It just could have been condensed, but it's not. And that's a problem. So it finally got resolved, I guess. So before we go into like the deep POVs, I want to talk about we're going to go from the smaller POVs to like the longer ones. So this is like towards the end of the book, and I actually really like this part. So a bunch of Red Sisters go to the Dark Tower to talk to Tam, because Tam is betraying Rand. He is the traitor. They go there to tell Tam that they should bond with men who can channel, and he agrees with it for the Dark Lord. I thought that was a really cool way to just set the tone, like, ooh, so the next 3 books are gonna be insane, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm very excited. I thought about digging into Gathering Storm. I think that's what the 12th book is immediately, but I have a bunch of other books I gotta read first, so I'm like, gotta hold off. But I am pretty excited to see what happens. So we're gonna talk about Egwene a little bit. So Egwene gets captured She goes to the White Tower and she becomes a novice. Like the Aes Sedai are like, oh yeah, you're a traitor. you're with the rebels and all this, and they are trying to embarrass her by making her a novice again because she was, you know, in charge of she was the Armelin, and now she's, well, a novice. That's what we're trying to portray with her. But throughout this whole POVs of Egwene, she is slowly manipulating all these Aes Sedai to be on her side, because when she was with other novice, she was just showing them what's up. She was just way more powerful than them, and so on and so forth. And eventually, she was having one-on-ones with a bunch of Aes Sedai, and is manipulating these women to listen to her. She's slowly spreading it throughout the tower, which is just a really cool thing to see. I don't like Egwene that much because I feel like she fails upwards, so she always just keeps getting rewarded for being a failure and things. That's why in like this, I'm like, wow, this is actually really good. She's actually doing things that she deserves. Like, she's rewarded for these things, and I really like that. And throughout this whole book. And speaking of another cool character that actually does stuff, that is, well, Elaine. And actually does cool things in this one. Because like I said, most of my complaints throughout this whole series is Elaine only worries about Rand. Every single time you get into Elaine's POV, she always is like, Rand, Rand, Rand. But this one, she's like, actually kind of cool. So right now, she is trying to fight to become the Queen of Andor, which is actually really cool. I was like, all right, finally, we are finally cooking. But then in my head, I was like, I think Robert Jordan's probably gonna be like, yo, book 13 is when it's gonna happen. That was kind of my thought process through it all. But no, actually things get crazy. Like, there's a big battle that happens. She gets captured by a bunch of Black Sisters. Berelain figures it out because it's her warder, goes and rescues her. And what happens is once that gets solved, Elaine's like, perfect. She got out of the city, and now she uses her other large army to flank the army that's attacking her other army in the city. And once that is all settled, because she wins, she is officially the Queen of Andor. And I actually really like that. Like I said, throughout most of this book, I didn't like Elaine, because I think Elaine was just not a very good character. But now I see this, I'm like, wow, she finally sets the tone of being a really good character. Now, like, I like how this is all finally happening. All this is coming together of them doing things to prepare for the last battle. Like, that's what this book really felt like to me. The last one that was a little smaller but still important was Nynaeve. Nynaeve actually in this book was actually kind of cool too. Like I said, like, a lot of these characters who I didn't really like are now like, wow, this is actually cool. Like Nynaeve, I did not like Nynaeve through 10 books, but this book, I was like, wow, Nynaeve is actually kind of cool. Crossroads of Twilight at the end, she was all right. But this book, she was actually pretty cool because she sends, so Lan is gonna leave to go to the Blight to become the king again, but it's like a suicide mission. But Nynaeve tricks him and sends him out on a gateway to the Wastelands. So he doesn't do a suicide mission. And instead, she's like, I'm gonna convince everyone to follow you. And she does that. So I was like, this is actually kind of cool. I didn't expect that, and I think that was a really cool character thing from her. Because, like I said, throughout most of the book, she's kind of just really bossy and mean, and just, I don't know. I never liked Nynaeve, but this one, I was like, wow. The things, I guess the things you do for love. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the meat and potatoes of this. We're going to talk about Mat, Perrin, and Rand. First, we're going to do Perrin, because Perrin, I feel like he has the most chapters in this book. And I will say, finally, Perrin rescues Fael. Like, it took 4 or 5 books for him to finally do it, because the slog, the homeboy was doing nothing. So I'm like, finally. The Shan-Chan to defeat the Shadow to save his wife. The Shan-Chan, I don't know why I cannot pronounce that name. And the Shan-Chan tell him, like, oh, there is supposed to be a king of the wolves with a large hammer. And I'm like, boy, I wonder who that could be. Not the blacksmith. No, not Perrin. The plan is actually pretty cool. So Perrin's army is smaller than the one that they're about to face. And what they do is they use these little poison things like they were using on the Aes Sedai when Nynaeve got like drugged and she was able to do like nothing. Same thing with Olenna and stuff. And that's what they do to the whole army. They put it in the water to drug them. And then when they go to attack, well, it makes it a lot easier. But before they attack, Tam, Rand's father, shows up with more soldiers, which is actually really cool. I was like, if I can remember, I was like, I don't think we've seen Tam in a hot minute, because it's been like 3 months since I read the last Wheel Time book. So I was like, wow, so Tam actually is showing up to help, which I just wasn't expecting, and I really like that. So Fail is trying to get this oath rod, but then she gets tricked by a black sister, and then like this building collapses on her, and she's stuck with under there with Morgadine, which is, if I can remember, she is one of the Forsaken. And Fail tries to help her so she can channel, but she actually can't. But then they escape with some some Aiels will help them get out of the building because they wave like a flag for them to see it, and they help them. And while they're running, escaping, Perrin runs into him. Perrin kills the Aiel, who throughout the slog had like a love interest with Fael. And I did not like that because it was like Fael was like kind of into this dude too. But Perrin ended up killing him, and Fael was sad, but she was also happy because she got to see Perrin again. And I'm like, all right. The end for Perrin was Aram tries to kill Perrin, but Perrin kills him because the prophecy was like telling Aram that Perrin is like bad, so he just kills him, and then Perrin's like, damn you! So I was like, so through this, I actually was really enjoying Perrin's parts because I'm like, Perrin finally gets to do something. Rand figures out that he is connected to one of the Forsaken. I can't think of the Forsaken's name for the life of me right now. I literally didn't even write down my notes. I just said one of the Forsaken. I was like, what's wrong with me? I am failing at my note-taking skills. So Rand figures out that he is connected to one of the Forsaken. Rand and Logain talk about the Dark Tower that Tam is, well, a traitor. Rand wants Logain to go there. Homeboy Lionel gets married, and Rand wants him to close all the way gates. So that's actually pretty dope. I thought that was a really cool little introduction to it all. And Logain comes back, and he's like with the saw chain, and they told Rand, they're like, hey, we have the Daughter of the Nine Moons who Rand needs to meet. They go there. Rand gets attacked, loses his right arm, and I'm gonna say this: Rand took that like a dog. Like his hand got cut off. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Rand. And he's just like, I'm fine. And he was just not even affected by it. I'm like, bro, Rand is a dog sometimes. Like, I was like, I got some respect for him. Like, granted, he was like saving one of his wives. He was saving Min. He was like protecting Min, so that's why he lost his arm. But like at the same time, like Rand just was like not fazed by it. I was like, nice, dude. So the Forsaken that they captured after that attack tells Rand that, oh, we know that you have like Luciferin in your head and you're hearing voices. You are going mad. It really sets the tone. Like Rand's like, ooh, and they're like, it's kind of like a last man, like, we gotcha kind of move. And I really enjoyed that. All right, now we're with Matt, and Matt probably has become my favorite character because, like I said, Perrin was, but the way that Robert Jordan was writing Perrin throughout most of these books, after I think it was The Shadow Rising, I just was not liking Perrin as much as I used to, which makes me sad because I really liked Perrin. So I need to get this out of the way now. Matt does something that I never thought I would see in this whole entire series. Matt legit spanks an Aes Sedai because they were making him so mad that he spanked her. I was like, what is going on? That blew my mind, and I thought it was so funny. But Matt set the tone pretty quick because these Aes Sedai are just so rude to him, and Matt has done so much for these girls, and they just disrespect him, so he finally just spanked him. I'm like, odd, but okay. So Matt is still with the Daughter of the Nine Moons, and not to forget, Tom is still with Matt. I feel like, because most of the time you're like, where the hell's Tom? And you kind of forget that he's just hanging out with Matt the whole time. And they were all hanging out, and Tom kept reading this letter, and Matt finally asked about this letter, and Tom gives him the letter, and the letter literally says, give Matt this letter when he asked about it. And it's from Morgady, I think that's how you pronounce her name, the Queen of Andor, Elaine's mom. She is in a tower and she wants Matt to rescue her. So Matt is gonna go rescue her. I don't want to forget this part, but the band of the Red Hand has actually been with Matt this whole time. Like his little army is like just expanding because they all just love how loyal Matt is. And I really like that part. So this was an interesting thing. So there is the Saw-Chan that it wants to attack Matt because of the Daughter of the Nine Moons, and then there's another group that the Daughter of the Nine Moons is going to go to because they like her, so she's going to go there, and Matt's going to kill this army that wants to kill her. And before she leaves, she says like 3 things to prove that she is now Matt's wife, and I was like, interesting. So Matt's now a married man, so that's actually pretty cool. So Knife of Dreams in general, I actually really enjoyed it. I think everything that we all been waiting for finally happened, because that slog was just, there's like nothing really going on, and so Knife of Dreams is just a really nice breather, because for the fact that we were able to get so many payoffs, and we still got 3 more books left to see all these final payoffs, and I cannot wait. If you guys made it to the end of this video of me just talking about the Knife of Dreams for a long time, I do appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out all my socials down below. And of course, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video.